What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another video. So we got a lot of shit to talk about in this video, and I don't want it to drag on to a 20-minute video. So we're going to try and keep it as efficient as possible while maintaining the palatable nature of my videos. Anyways, best relic sets. Obviously, I don't need to explain this shit on the right. It should literally be, it explains itself. But over here, this is going to be much better. Once we progress through the slideshows, it'll make much more sense. But you need the crit rate, and this is also a massive W since the way you're supposed to be building Blade is going to depend on this more than it will depend on this. All right, let's go ahead and go over into the best stats. So, HP is way better than crit rate and crit damage. Why? To keep a long story short, it does the same damn damage and increases his survivability by 1,000 extra HP on average, no matter which light cone you're using. So, deal more or deal the same damage and increase survivability. That's how you view that. It's the same concept here. HP can deal the same damage as win % damage bonus and increases survivability again by an extra 1,000% HP. The reason being is because Blade's kit is one of those kits that has access to all kinds of damage % bonuses to where you get diminishing returns or the same returns because of his HP scaling being so goddamn massive. My boy has the biggest dick HP scaling I've ever seen. Anyways, boots. Speed boots. My boy is slow as a goddamn turtle. He's a turtle in the race for sure. He has 97 speed, and even if you put a 25 speed stat boot on him, he still won't reach the 132 speed breakpoint. So you're gonna have to do a little bit of speed tuning in addition to rocking the speed boot on him. However, since we're getting more access to more resources that increase team speed and stuff like that, it shouldn't be an issue. Finally, the rope. Energy recharge is definitely what you're gonna do. If you have Tingyun, her battery is so damn good, she's the best battery unit in the game, that you can get away with running another HP stat. If you're not running Tingyun on the composition, his energy recharge can be problematic. What I've tested, and we'll showcase this and confirm it in the game when he releases as well, but energy % rope allows you to attack 3 times with Blade. His skill at the same time only lasts for 3 turns, so this is perfect synergy. If he gets hit twice and his follow-up attack triggers, which it will, his ult's gonna be back up, which means you can then pop his ult, get the full 90% condition damage bonus, and then going into the next turn, you can start off opening up with his skill to drain his own HP, then attack. It's a perfect, fluid, smooth as butter synergy, trust me. So energy recharge rope, unless you have Tingyun on his team, then he can get away with another HP substat. Now, main stat. Best substats is going to be, again, obviously HP %, crit value, and then you're going to have to do a little speed tuning depending on the team composition you're running. Moving on to base stats. Over here is going to be Blade's base stats without a light cone. Right here is going to be Blade's base stats with the light cone. We're using Arlon's light cone at superimpose 1 as the example. Don't worry, we will also show you a signature example of his light cone, the damage difference, and we'll cover the other light cones as well. He's going to have 1,005 base attack with the light cone and then 2,416 base HP. So let's go ahead and come over here to the HP % stats. We're rocking body and sphere as an HP % main stat. Substats, let's say you get lucky and you get another 20% HP % mid-max into the substats. His relic set comes with an additional 12, and then his traces come with an additional 28% once you fill them all up. That's going to total to 146.4% HP. Down here's the math for that shit. That's 6,658 HP. And then there's a nice little note here just for you guys to know. So damage % bonuses. This is what I was saying. His skill gives you a 40% damage bonus to his entire kit. That's a massive damage bonus. His ult and follow-up get an additional 15% from the Inert Soul Sato set, which is why it's a crucial to run in addition to the 8% crit chance. His trace ability, I think it's Ascension 4, I don't remember. One of them gives you another 20% damage bonus to his follow-up attack exclusively. Finally, Arlon's light cone is going to give you a 20% damage bonus, and then if you have less HP than the target you're attacking, there's another, it pretty much just doubles the superimposed damage bonus that it gives you. But in all the examples we're going to show, we don't include this because it's a bit impractical to do a one-size-fits-all mathematical formula for it. Anyways, just with him alone, he gets a 60% damage bonus to his autos, 75% to his ult, and then a 95% to his follow-up attack. Finally, over here is going to be all the crit rate influences and crit damage influences. Everybody has a 5% base crit rate chance. His traces give another 12%. The relic set gives 16%, Inert Soul Sato gives another 8%, and then here's the problem here with his kit. Since HP is his best stat to run, you're gonna have to min-max quite a bit of crit rate into his substats. Now I get it, 30% seems like a lot. It's actually not that bad. Since you're not running a crit rate main stat, you have 6 relic pieces. to get crit rate on each and every one of them. So if you literally get just one crit rate roll on each and every one of them, you're already at 18 to 21% crit rate, depending on how high it rolls. So you literally only have to roll crit rate one time on 3 different pieces. It's not that difficult unless you have the luck of fucking Tectone. In that case, you can uninstall the game or grind it out for like 2 months straight. Maybe then you'll have it. But if you have the average luck of the average individual, that's like a week or 2 of grinding and then it's GG's. Crit damage is 120%. What are we doing here? Everybody starts off with 50% base crit damage. Then they got the new set coming around the corner, the 2-piece set that gives you 10% crit damage to your whole party so long as the person wearing it has effect resistance of 30%. You can put this on your Lorcha, and then you can put this on one of the other characters, and then everybody gets that extra 20% crit damage. Finally, substat is going to be 50% mid-maxed into a substats. Again, we're not rocking a single crit damage main stat, so it's easy to get 50% crit damage in the substat since we have 6 relics to work off of that. That's an average of about 8.2% crit damage per relic, okay? So that's not that hard, it's really not. All right, moving on. And again, if these guys are going to be your main characters, mid-maxing is something you're going to do. This guy's going to be your boy, your main DPS. He's going to be in the front with Kazuha, not in the back with Amber. So of course, you're going to mid-max my guy. You get what I'm saying? All right, cool. Let's get on to the fun part. Tingyun, Bronya, Blade, plus Arlon, Lightcone. How strong are we talking here? I know a lot of these guys who have Bronya and Tingyun are going to be running this exact composition. Don't worry, I don't own Bronya, so I made a composition for the people who don't own Bronya as well. Don't worry, the struggle's real, buddy. We had to get it out the mud, so we're gonna make it happen, Captain. Ultimate level 10, talent level 10, follow-up level 10, enhanced basic attack level 7. How much damage is he doing? We got single target damage and adjacent damage. We got his follow-up, which pretty much does area of effect, same damage to every single person, which is cracked. And then we have single and adjacent target damage down here. We'll explain it all. First and foremost, my boy is dealing 60,000 single target damage with his ultimate, and then 25,000 adjacent damage to the left and right of the person you're hitting. What's the formula looking like? Right here is going to be his attack percent. This is his attack times the attack percent scaling, which is only 40%. That's dog shit. 7,701 is his HP times 1. He gets 100% scaling with his HP. But oh no, it doesn't end right there. He gets another 90% scaling of his HP as well. So he gets 190% HP scaling on his ultimate. That's how cracked the HP scaling is on this guy. Finally, we have his damage bonuses. This is going to be all the damage bonuses I just mentioned that apply to his ult, plus 50% from Tingyun, plus 50% from Bronya. And then finally, we have some crit damage here. Now, Bronya, on average, depending on who your Bronya is, she can give 40 to 50% crit damage over to the character, and then she gives an additional 15%, I think, in addition to that. So you could raise this up higher, and he can deal more damage. I just put it at a reasonable amount of crit damage transferred over, generalization. But each Bronya is different. This might be 2.85 for some of you guys. Finally, this is the defense of the monster you're going up against, assuming they're level 90. I always theory craft off the hardest content in the game. So if people are a lower level, you're going to deal more damage. Last thing I want to mention is these numbers are not including the resistance and toughness of the monster. If they're including the resistance and toughness, well, if they're weak to win, it's the same damage. If their toughness is up, it's 10% less damage. If they're not weak to win, this is going to drop down quite significantly. Like this 59 would probably turn into like 43 or some shit. It's a big damage drop off. They're not weak to the element. Anyways, follow-up attack, enhanced basic. This is the damage we're looking at. Now, as you can see, this is some really disgusting area of effect damage and some very solid single target damage. It ain't still a single target damage, but the area of effect blows everything I've seen in the game thus far out of the goddamn water. His AoE is disgusting. So keep that in mind, guys. Now, look at this. If you swap out Bronya and put in Yukong, the damage is very, very identical. His follow-up damage is actually higher. Why is that? That's because Bronya's skill only lasts 1 turn. So much like a Tingyun scenario, that skill damage bonus percent cannot transfer over to his follow-up attack. It's just not applicable. However, somebody like Yukong can give all of her bonuses over to him. She can give an attack percent, the crit rate, the crit damage, and his follow-up attack can take advantage of that as well. If she's at E6, she can even snipe his follow-up attack. So Yukong has some very good value here. Not to mention, he's the most skill point efficient main DPS in the game. He only takes 1 skill point away every 3 turns, which is freaking phenomenal. So you won't run into skill point efficiency problems with this team either. Tingyun's highly skill point positive, and if you have Lorcha or Bailu, they're highly skill point positive as well. So my boy's ready to rock and roll with this team composition. I can see it popping off. Now, I didn't do any theory crafting for the other compositions where you have maybe another DPS in the party. But don't worry, we're going all out for my boy Blade. This is one of my main DPS that I'll be using. We're gonna go all out on the showcases, don't you worry. Is there anything else to take away from this? Oh yeah, little note down there at the bottom as well. But yeah, moving on. Finally, what does his signature light cone damage look like? He's dealing 67,000 damage to a single target and 28k with his ult. I just wanted to give you a sneak peek of how much stronger it is with his signature light cone in comparison to the previous option with Bronya. You could see it's 8k more and then a little bit more on the adjacent. But here's the real, you want to look at the average at this point, because the real value of his light cone comes with the 18% crit rate chance. That shit is cracked because he's already much stronger than the other light cones. Then they increase his crit chance as well, which is nutty. So on average, my guy is dealing 62.5k average damage with his ult, whereas Arlon's S1 light cone's only dealing 42k. That is a massive damage difference. And that same damage difference can be applied to the follow-up and the enhanced basic attack. It's huge. We're talking about like a 47% increase there, which is pretty crazy. Now, I do want to include in the yellow, this does not include Arlon's second damage bonus, meaning you have less HP than the people you're attacking. Furthermore, at S5, Arlon's light cone's pretty fucking disgusting. It probably goes up like 10k. I haven't done the math, but it probably goes up like 10k, 15k in average damage. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is what about Clara? I already know you fuckers are going to ask. Oh, what about Clara's light cone? What about the free-to-play Herta light cone? What about... Listen, the best light cones in the game for my guy is going to be his signature, Arlon's light cone. With higher refinements, Arlon's light cone might be number 2 in terms of DPS. But number 2 without S5 Arlon light cone is going to be Clara. Her light cone's phenomenal. And it's going to be somewhere in between here. It's probably like 52k. I don't feel like doing the goddamn math. We'll probably do it a follow-up video down the road, just comparing the exact precise mathematics of each light cone. But I would say they're going to end up somewhere in the middle of this right here in terms of the average damage. Probably like 10% to 15% less damage than a signature. And there you go. So ideally, use whichever one you have available to you. The damage differences ain't going to be that big of a difference unless you're comparing them to the pay-to-win signature light cone. All right. Now, the last thing I want to touch up on with you guys is, I know there's questions you're probably going to be asking about rotations, energy recharge, how to fulfill his ult's condition, a number of things with regards to how you're utilizing this character properly. Again, we're going to do much more showcases and in-game guides. I just wanted to give you guys the on-paper rough draft first. And then when I follow up with all the other stuff, y'all can go back and be like, damn, Smack really be on his shit, man. My boy be doing his due diligence out there in these streets. All right. Anyways, man, I hope I brought you guys some value. Y'all take care. Peace, love, and happiness. Peace.